All right, welcome to this week's episode of Library Picker, where we walk around the shelves and look for some books that are a little bit older, maybe don't get as much press as some of the big-name newer books. They're gathering a little bit of dust, but they're great stories and they deserve to be checked out. Let's head over to the historical fiction section and take a look at what we have over here. Here's a good one, Born to Fly by Michael Ferrari. Let me read you something from the back cover here. This is a quote from the main character. "Just because I was a girl in 1941, don't think I was some sissy." Bird McGill is her name, and her father is a fighter pilot in the early years of World War I, and she wants to be a fighter pilot as well, but she's a girl, so that's a problem. Another problem is that she befriends a boy in her class who happens to be Japanese, and that is not an easy thing to be Japanese in the U.S. during World War II. Everybody in their town thinks that he and his family are a bunch of spies. They're not, but the two friends do find someone in town that's a spy, and they have to act in order to save the town from whatever that spy is cooking up. Let's move on here to another section. Over to our grab and go area. A lot of good new books here, but there's a bunch of old ones too that maybe get lost in the shelf. This is a great one that I haven't read yet, but I'd really like to. It's Rift by Beverly Birch, and it was only published in paperback, but it got really good reviews. It's an archaeological adventure or action mystery kind of thing. Take a look at the cover. I won't read the back of it to you, but you know, there's some kind of bird, a lot of helicopters, footprints, skulls. That sounds like good stuff to me. Let's move on a little bit. Away from the grab and go shelf. Over towards our action and suspense area. Right below that sign, here's another great one. Little Brother. This is supposed to be a really great book. I also haven't read this one, but hackers, kids, major terrorist attack. Let's see if we can look this one up on the library website. Little Brother. Once this loads, we're going to click on the title. And if you select Title Peek, it's going to tell us a lot about this book. This is great, especially if you're doing some kind of blog about the book. It's going to tell you all the characters, all the topics that are covered in the book, and give you a brief summary. Kid's only 17 years old, figures he knows how the system works and how to work the system. Smart, fast, and wise in the ways of the networked world, he has no trouble outwitting his high school's intrusive but clumsy surveillance systems. Talks about the author a little bit, then gives you all the reviews for this book. Another great one that you can find in our action and suspense area. All right, let's move on to another section. Fast forward here a little bit. All right, we're in our drama and comedy area now. Let's see what we can find here. Maniac Magee by Jerry Spinelli. This is actually one of my favorite books from when I was in 5th or 6th grade. I still have the original copy. It's on my son's bookshelf right now. This is actually about the legend or myth of a kid named Maniac Magee, who is a fantastic athlete. He's a slick talker. And the story is really about what he does for a town where there's two completely different groups of people who fight some of the time, don't get along, and he brings them together. Great, great choice. All right, let's fast forward here, see what else we can find in the library. Head on over to our science fiction and fantasy section, and there's a crow out there. That distracted me a little bit. A lot of crows outside the library windows. Freaks me out sometimes. Science fiction and fantasy section, there's a lot of older books that are really good in this section. This one right here I was looking at earlier today. Let's take a look at it. Water Mirror by Kai Meyer. Great fantasy set in an alternate Venice. And as you can see from the cover, we're going to take a look at the cover in a minute, but This is a place where the police patrol the town on enormous magical stone lions. You've got two friends, one that is an apprentice to a magic mirror maker, and the other that was at one point a master thief and now weaves magical cloth for a living. The cover says a lot more than I can say. On the back, you've got this mermaid-looking thing with these huge pointy teeth. Looks a little scary, but looks interesting to me. Be a great book to pick up. So that's it for this week's episode of Library Picker. Don't be afraid to come in the library and spend a little bit of time just browsing around looking for something that you're not familiar with, because there's a lot of really great stuff in here whose titles you might not be familiar with.